Well, right about now, we'd like to get that exclusive interview with regards to the death of the former Kenyan president, that is Mr. Arap Moi, who passed away yesterday. So we did get an exclusive with Ambassador Kiema Kilonzo, Kenya's High Commissioner to Uganda. Let's listen in to that interview.
They passed on this morning at 5:20. He passed away peacefully. I was by his side, and as a family we've accepted. And mine is just to give my heartfelt gratitude to all Kenyans and non-Kenyans for the prayers and thoughts that have been given to Mzee and to our family.
So this unfortunate news came in the morning. How did it find you?
His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta issued a presidential proclamation with effect to the passing on of our second president, the late President of Kenya, Daniel Arap Moi. Daniel Arap Moi was a great son of the continent. He was a great son of East Africa. And to the Kenyan people, I want to bring my heartfelt condolences to all those he touched in a very special way. As a founder of the second East African community after the collapse of the first one, President Moi, President Mukapa, and President Yoweri Museveni revived the East African community. And Moi was a very, very deep religious man. He was the second president, the longest serving president of the Republic of Kenya. Kenyans remember him fondly for his mantra of peace, love, and unity. He made sure, as a Pan-Africanist, he played a big role to the liberation of the countries which had not been liberated by the time he took over from the late president, the founding president of the Republic. President Moi, I worked with him very, very closely. Then I ran in 1997 to be a member of parliament, and I was running on a KANU ticket, and then he was the KANU presidential candidate. So we worked very, very closely. And I remember him as a man with humility. He was a president, but he was a man of the people. For Ugandans, I know he loved Uganda. He kept on visiting here. He had a special relationship with the East Africans. I remember the last year when we went to Kenya with His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni. He had to take time to visit President Moi in Nairobi Hospital. So they had a deep sense of understanding when they both were governing the region. President Moi was a peacemaker. During the 24 years he ruled Kenya, those were the years of peace and tranquility in our country. We never had serious blow-ups of any type. Moi knew how to bring the communities together. He knew how to bring peoples together, and we will remember him as a man who transited us from a one-party state to the multi-party Kenya state, which was promulgated, which was the Section 2A, which was repealed in 2000 to allow for multi-party politics to start. Okay. Yes. I beg your pardon, it was not 2000, it was actually 1992 so that we go to multi-party politics.
Okay. For the Kenyan community and the friends of Kenyans in Uganda, are you going to organize a special program, maybe a signing ceremony for the condolence book or anything that will show tribute to this perfect gallant son?
Indeed, here at the embassy we would be opening a condolences book. Already, if you have seen our flags as directed by His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta, they are flying up mast. Kenya is in a mourning state from now until when we are going to be burying our second President of the Republic, and there will be a book opened here at the embassy for signing for condolences, and we invite Kenyans and friends of Kenya and of the President Moi to come and sign the book.
The late, who has been described as the professor of politics, was a friend to Uganda, yes. Now we're going to an election, and he was a peacemaker. What can Uganda learn from him, who even gave up power in a peaceful transfer of power? What can we learn from him?
President Moi has a lot to be emulated, both by leaders in the region and also the ordinary wananchi. When it came to matters of politics, he was very emphatic that he would not be continuing after he had done his 10 years, which the Constitution allowed him to do that at the time. And then he was able to hand over power to President Kibaki, the third President of the Republic of Kenya, in a very smooth transition way, which was devoid of tension and violence which is witnessed in other parts of the world when power is being transferred from one regime to the other. And that is a lesson not only to Uganda, to African countries, to learn that when your time comes to an end, then you hand over power to the next person, you hand over the baton to the next person to run the race.
Part of his efforts was to see a united East African community. Now we're talking about mutual cooperation, trade, and other relations. And now at a time when you have Uganda and Kenya not having a good time with the issues to do with trade, especially for the milk, what would you advise as the High Commissioner? How can we handle such issues that seem to be putting us the wrong way, the way late Daniel Tolitich and Moi wouldn't want to see?
Those are your words, yeah? I think Kenya and Uganda, until now, enjoys, yeah, an excellent relationship. Issues of bilateral nature, issues of trade, we have got a joint ministerial commission, which is a mechanism which is used to deal with issues of trade disputes and all that, and even in a family. Even
I'm talking about the issue of the milk, at least for most recently. I'm
talking about issues of trade, yeah? Milk is about trade, isn't it? And when, even in a family, you'll find there are always issues which come up, but as long as there's a mechanism to resolve them, then you are in good state. I believe Kenya, Uganda are very strong with the other East African countries. There's no more dispute. When people are living together and trading together, there will be issues which will be coming up from time to time. But as long as the foundation is strong, we will pull together. I can tell you without any fear of contradiction that as East Africans, yeah, Moi started with President Mkapa, President Museveni, the issue of confederation. That issue is on course. We are looking at East African becoming a confederation, having achieved the other three pillars of the East African Cooperation.
Okay, maybe finally, there was a time when we saw political refugees during the 1980s, we saw some coming, some from Kenya coming to Uganda, and some from Uganda going to Kenya. And more especially when you even talk about, for example, Dr. Kizza Besigye was at one time, and also First Lady Honorable Jenny Kataha Museveni also in Kenya at some time. This kind of relationship, what can the political leaders learn from this, especially now that the continent is going to electoral period?
Like I said, East Africans, we are one. These borders we have are really artificial borders. Yeah? Do you know that to go to Kenya today, you do not need to use your passport? To go to Uganda, to come to Uganda, a Kenyan doesn't need to use a passport. What they need to use is just their identity cards. So movements of peoples and goods must be allowed to move on freely. We must allow political tolerance. Yeah, that is how we want to move. So Kenyans would come here, yeah, whether politicians or even traders. Ugandans would move there. What we must allow as government is that people should be free to live and do business where they want.
Thank you so much for your time. Any last word you want to pass on to the public?
I just want to say during this time of mourning, we just need to remember Mzee Daniel Arap Moi as a man who wanted to see cohesion, yeah, within the East African community. I want to urge East Africans and especially Kenyans to emulate him. This time, we don't want to see tribal ethnicity, yeah, blowing up. We want us to use our different ethnicity as cultural strength which we have in the region. And therefore, I want to encourage all of us to remember the good deeds of Moi and pray for his family in this time of sorrow.
His Excellency Kiema Kilonzo, the High Commissioner to Uganda, Kenya's High Commissioner to Uganda, giving us an account of the legacy left behind by the now deceased former Kenyan president, that is Daniel Arap Moi. May his soul rest in a town of peace. Now, the Daily Monitor has all the details on the deceased, the former Kenyan president. And I understand there's also a period of mourning that has been instituted in Kenya. We shall be communicating the burial arrangements right here on NTV.